Breathwork seems like one of those self-help techniques that you could easily learn on social media. After all, there are countless tutorials on YouTube and TikTok, along with numerous testimonials on Reddit. And anyway, could it really be that difficult to consciously change your breathing pattern to promote stress relief and relaxation, which breathwork practices promise to do? As it turns out, experts say learning breathwork as a beginner is harder than most understand. That's partly because many people are accustomed to drawing short breaths from their chest, rather than inhaling deeply from their abdomen. Altering this pattern can be challenging, as it requires an awareness that many people don't possess, through no fault of their own. The body's reflexes are powerful. It's easy to take breathing for granted. But there are also dangers to practicing breathwork without proper guidance and support. For those who've experienced severe anxiety or trauma, focusing on the breath can trigger intense discomfort and distress. Some people find that the stillness of breathwork can surface painful memories, or rapidly put them in touch with emotions or physical sensations they've suppressed. Social media breathwork tutorials frequently leave out these details. On TikTok, the search term breathwork has more than 170 million views. A successful breathwork video can win a creator clout and followers. Viewers eager to discover a seemingly quick self-help technique while scrolling through social media might be inclined to overlook any drawbacks.
I'm Therese Couture, my pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm the founder of Embodied Black Girl, and I'm also a somatic practitioner and a leadership coach. For someone who's just brand new to breathwork, I always recommend finding a practitioner that they feel aligned to, and also someone who is trauma informed and maybe has a somatic background, so to guide them in a way, depending on their unique history and experiences, they can guide them in a way that allows them to land safely in their body and have a positive experience with breathwork. A lot of people have really positive experiences with breathwork, but depending on someone's histories and their trauma history, breathwork can lead to rapid embodiment. So that means like being conscious of your body and your sensations in a rapid way, which can cause overwhelm in the nervous system. So that's one of the things that I look out for. So a lot of people are not necessarily in tune with whether their nervous system is activated or not, which can lead to, that kind of situation with breathwork.
Instead of looking to online breathwork tutorials, Couture and other experts say curious beginners should seek out a trained, trauma-informed practitioner in their local community. Specifically, she recommends looking for practitioners whose trauma-informed approach is connected to an understanding of social justice issues. This is particularly important given that the wellness world has not been immune to the spread of disinformation and conspiracy theories. While this can negatively affect anyone regardless of their identity, Couture says women, people of color, people who identify as LGBTQ, and people with disabilities may be disproportionately affected by political and social trauma, and may need more complex or even outside support. Couture says that virtual group sessions often begin at $25. And private sessions can range from $90 to upwards of $300. In-person training may be more expensive than virtual classes. Since the beginning of the pandemic, many practitioners have moved their trainings online. Instructors working in person may choose outdoor and well-ventilated spaces. Beginners can search online for practitioners, ask for recommendations from friends who've done breathwork, or see if their local yoga studio offers breathwork instruction. If you have any health concerns, contact a trusted healthcare professional before starting breathwork. If you're curious about pursuing breathwork, here's what you should know about how it works, the benefits, and when to stop. What is breathwork?
Breathwork, the way that I would define it is that it's any conscious change to your breath pattern. That's the simplest way to define breathwork. Essentially, it's also because traumas, it alters your breath pattern. Like it changes the way that you breathe. So when you consciously change your breath, you're going into a new pattern.
This means that yoga and meditation practices that involve shifting your natural rhythm of inhaling and exhaling count as breathwork. Pranayama, an ancient yogic breathwork technique, takes different forms depending on the intended outcome. This can include alternate nostril breathing and bhastrika, also known as bellows breath. Mindfulness methods like Tai Chi, Qigong and mindfulness-based stress reduction promote slow and deep rhythmic breathing. The Wim Hof method, which features breath holding and forceful inhalation and exhalation, has become popular in recent years. Breathwork can also be based on various numbered patterns, like inhaling for 4 counts, pausing for 7, and exhaling for 8, a popular pranayama-style method developed by Dr. Andrew Weil and known as 4-7-8. Longer meditative styles of breathwork that can last as long as an hour are typically designed to elicit profound or spiritual revelations and insights. This is true of the holotropic breathwork practice, which is done in a specific setting with music to produce a non-ordinary state of consciousness. Couture says that breathwork has been practiced around the world by many different cultures. The way a certain technique is packaged may be about maximizing consumer appeal. Couture uses different patterns, including 3-part breathwork, which means the breath is drawn from the abdomen, passes through the heart, and is exhaled through the mouth. Dr. Selde Yildiz, PhD, a researcher studying the effect of breathwork on the brain's health and sleep, says that beginners can prioritize finding an experienced teacher and become familiar with a number of practices to choose the ones that work best for them. What works for me is maybe not going to work for somebody else. The benefits of breathwork. Breathwork is thought to influence the vagus nerve, which stretches from the brain to the gut and makes up the majority of what's known as the parasympathetic nervous system. This web of nerves promotes a relaxed state, shifting the body away from a fight or flight stress response and into a state of rest and digest. Yildiz says the vagus nerve is moderated by respiration, or inhaling and exhaling. Slow and deep breathing can improve the strength or tone of the vagus nerve. The higher the tone, the faster the body recovers from a stressful event. When to stop breathwork. When Thérèse Couture instructs someone in breathwork, she aims to keep them in what's known as a window of tolerance.
The window of tolerance, or the window of capacity, comes from Dan Siegel's work, and that essentially says that each of us has a capacity of what we're able to handle within our nervous system. And if we're going to go outside of that window of capacity, that's when we get overwhelmed. That's when we might also be re-traumatizing ourselves or traumatizing ourselves in that moment. So that's why it's really important to stay within our capacity. And the cues for that are noticing, are you overwhelmed? You know, are you anxious? Is this making your anxiety, if you have anxiety, more? And if it is, then that's a cue to either slow down, to stop altogether, take a break, look around, and do those kind of things.
Since breathwork can be challenging for various reasons, that means making sure a person's level of discomfort is manageable for them. For example, counted pauses between inhaling and exhaling can be stressful but ultimately tolerable for some. Others may need to stop and take a sip of water or end the session entirely. Couture frequently begins breathwork instruction with somatic exercises that ease people into feeling in their bodies. That includes gentle movement practices that help calm the sympathetic nervous system.
For me, it's foundational to start with somatic exercises or practices before breathwork, simply because, again, it allows folks to land safely in their bodies and settle and really notice what their nervous system state is. So when they're able to notice, hey, wow, I'm actually in fight, or I'm in flight, or I'm in freeze, or I'm settled and I feel pretty good, they can make a conscious choice. So then they're at choice as to how fast, how slow, how deep, how much they want to explore the breathwork practice. So I always want to make sure that the folks that I work with are at choice. So I'm not making the choice or imposing what I think they need to do onto them, and they have that sense of choice and agency.
If someone feels overwhelmed or experiences anxiety or hyperventilating, Couture says they should immediately stop. Yildiz says trying different practices is key to understanding what's effective for a person, noting that their body will let them know when it doesn't feel right. Still, beginners might be tempted to push themselves to perfection at first and insist on sticking with an ambitious practice. They should resist that urge. It's like giving somebody a 100-pound dumbbell on their first weightlifting session, Yildiz says. Similarly, Couture advises her clients to proceed slowly with breathwork.
You can only heal at the speed of your nervous system. So it's really important to honor your body in any healing modality and listen to those cues. And it's gonna go oftentimes slower than what we want, that our minds want. And that, we're like, I need to do XYZ so quickly. But honoring the speed of our bodies and our nervous system is key.